Welcome here into Teal the Show. It has been a wild ride this season, but our final Teal the Show of the year as we look forward to the offseason. Kyle, look, it's been a fun one. It has been a fun season. It's going to be a fun offseason. Look, the NFL does a good job of keeping everybody busy and on the edge of their seats all the way until next football season. We were waiting on it all year. It got here, and before you know it, it was gone, and now we're waiting again. But we could use a little refresher, so it's nice. Hey, you know what? Luckily, Jacksonville doesn't have to worry about a coaching search or anything like that, like last offseason. But there is at least a couple of coaching nuggets that you got to keep an eye on. According to reports out there, the Jaguars have moved on from secondary coach Ron Milas, so there may be a new position coach coming to the staff here soon. And, you know, the two coordinators, when you win football games, people try to steal your guys. Grant Udinski has already been requested to interview for the Cleveland Browns head coaching position. And Jaguars defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile has been requested to interview for the Miami Dolphins head coaching position. So we got to keep an eye on if another team tries to poach one of the Jaguars guys. Fingers crossed. You hope they get a job, but you also hope that they stay in Jacksonville for another year, right? Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, it's a byproduct of winning. That's what happens. If you look at it every year, the teams that are at the top normally have coordinators that get hired other places. So you don't want to see them leave, but it's a part of the process. Yeah, we'll see. We will see how it works out. Both of them are definitely going to be interesting candidates. It's all going to come down to how they interview, but maybe this is the year where they get the interview experience, and then maybe next year is the year where they get the job. But we'll have to wait and see. Right now, again, Coach Camp interviewing with the Miami Dolphins. Coach Udinski going to interview with the Cleveland Browns for those jobs. So just something worth monitoring as we kind of go through the offseason. So over the course of the show, we'll try and give you some of the big things that you need to keep an eye on over the course of the offseason and answer a few of those lingering questions that are hanging around. Because, look, honestly, there are a lot of big ones for the Jaguars this offseason. This will not be the same team. Liam Cohen said during his end-of-season press conference that they kind of got to start from scratch and push that boulder back up the mountain because overall, everybody starts 0-0 when next season gets here. That's true. And one person we got to keep our eye on or keep our ears to is Travis Hunter. You know, we didn't get to see him finish out the year, but as we saw him throughout the year, he was definitely making some of those splashes and, big plays that we thought he could. And if he's going to be playing, both ways. So we did talk to Liam Cohen and James Gladstone for their end-of-the-season presser, and he was asked about, Travis Hunter and what it looks like for him moving forward.
Yeah, I think very fair to say that his rehab process is going as expected, and he's hitting it hard. And, obviously the joy that he brings to just the everyday operation is still something that permeates throughout the space that he enters. And beyond that and the role that he'll play, we still expect him to play on both sides of the ball. Obviously, you can take a peek at expiring contracts on our roster and which side of the ball has more. Obviously, at this point, walking into the offseason, corner is a position that we have a few guys who are on expiring contracts. So by default, you can expect there to be a higher emphasis on his placement.
There it is. You heard it from James Gladstone himself. I mean, Travis was playing some really good football on that defensive side of the field at cornerback, and the Jaguars are going to need him because they do have some free agents, which we'll talk about some of those guys here in just a minute. But Greg Newsome, who was starting at corner for you, free agent. Buster Brown, who was starting at corner for you, free agent. Jordan Lewis, who was starting at corner for you during the season, coming off an injury. So there's a lot of opportunity for Travis Hunter at that cornerback spot. While at wide receiver on the other side of the football, Jaguars have a little bit of a better field. You got Brian Thomas, you got Parker Washington, you got Jacoby Myers all coming back to where you really need him to be good at corner, but at the same time, what you saw right before he got hurt from him as a wide receiver, that says you're still going to want to use him on the offensive side of the football too. So the expectation that he's going to keep doing basically what we saw him do during this season is play both sides of the football and maybe lean a little bit more towards defense next season, since that's where it looks like the Jaguars are going to need a lot of him.
And I mean, that'll work out. Look at what the team did this year, and then remember, Travis Hunter was their big pick, and he didn't even get to play that much towards the end there. So just if they can get him going, and like you said, if he's more defense and contributes in those, because think back to the Chiefs game, right? He makes that big play. On some of those drives, it was his one play, 10, 15 yards, maybe some of them were bigger, that led to some of those points earlier on in the season.
Yeah, look, you're right. The Jaguars really didn't get a whole lot of contributions from their rookie class as a whole when you look at it. So that's why there's at least a little bit of hesitation on grading the rookie class, because You saw half a season from Travis Hunter. You don't know what you get from Caleb Ransall. Wyatt Milam spent most of the season recovering from an injury and then on the bench. You saw a little bit of Jonah Monheim. You saw a little bit of Bashal Tootin. Jack Kaiser's season came to an end. Jalen McLeod's season came to an end. You saw a little LaQuint Allen, but you saw some Rayon Lane. But overall, the majority of the rookie class was banged up, injured, and a lot of them didn't play a ton of football. So that is a reason for concern with the rookie class, but it's also a reason for excitement because, next season you're getting a Travis Hunter back, and those players were still at least around the game. Caleb Ransall was around the team all season. So it's like, think of Travis Etienne. His rookie year, he has the Liz Frank injury during preseason, misses the whole season, but when he comes back for year 2, it was like that, and he said actually missing that season helped him because he was in all the meetings. He knew what it was like. It wasn't like he was a rookie because he had lived the life while he was rehabbing. He just had to get out on the football field. So maybe the Jaguars can get some impact like that from some of these guys that are going to be coming off injuries because they could definitely use it as they try and get back to, well, the bar's been set at 13, right? So you got to try and get back to that.
And also, there'll be some new rookies, we're not getting to draft talk just yet, but there will be some new players that are a part of this team. And like you said, we mentioned some of those expiring contracts. We will definitely get to those here in a little bit.
All right, so yeah, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back on Teal the Show, we'll take a look at some of the Jaguars' key free agents and maybe chime in on who we think might be staying in Jacksonville and who might be wearing a different jersey this time next year. So we'll be right back right after this quick break.
We're not going to just stand here and say, man, we're just going to redo it all with all the same, because I got us 13 wins and knocked out of the playoffs in the first round.
Isn't that music to a lot of people's ears? Because if you think back, I guess we talk about the 2022 season a lot, but that's basically what they did in 23. They ran it back. They ran it back with the exact same team, and it didn't go that well. So you heard it from Liam Cohen. They're not going to do the same thing. They're going to find a way to improve this thing and make the team better going into next season. That is music to a lot of folks' ears, because now you know that they're going to be looking for those improvements. That's good.
Like you said, the standard was raised, and now that the standard has a higher floor, you can't fall back.
Yeah, look, they're keeping a lot of their key players, but they do have a handful of free agents that they're going to have to try and figure out a way if they can get back here in Jacksonville. Let's take a look at some of them if you want to pop that up for me. These are the guys that we've deemed as maybe key free agents. A lot of them are starters for the Jaguars. Take a look. Dennis Gardeck, Greg Newsome, Andrew Wingard, Montarg Brown, Devin Lloyd, Travis Etienne, and that's really just part of the list. There are a couple other guys like Quentin Morris and Tim Patrick who played some key roles for the Jags over the year, but they were key reserves. These guys were starters, and they're all free agents for the Jaguars. So some big decisions to make for some of these guys.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, Jamal. These are some big names. Those two at the end there are the ones everyone's talking about, Etienne and Lloyd. But, Buster Brown, Gardeck, Newsome, they all kind of made even Dewey. Those aren't just nobody names here in Jacksonville. Those are players that we know and have seen contribute on this team.
Yeah, look, these are all starters. So tough decisions because right now the Jaguars don't have a ton of salary cap room. And Trent Baalke handed out a bunch of contracts before these guys got here that the Jaguars have no real outs for to create a whole bunch of salary cap flexibility. So some tough decisions have to be made, and it's going to be tough. So I know a lot of people want to keep Devin Lloyd. I don't think Devin Lloyd's going to be in Jacksonville. I'll say that right now. I'm hesitant to think Travis Etienne's going to be back just because they're going to hit the market and there are going to be other teams that are very needy at those positions and can outbid the Jaguars. If I had to pick between the two, I think Travis Etienne's the most likely to find his way back into Jacksonville. I think Devin Lloyd's going to be playing in New Jersey. And I know those are the two big ones that everybody wants.
Okay. Hey, I feel like, it's hard, but like you said, there's no way you can keep both. Yeah. And that's just how the money is. And so I think Etienne probably does lean towards being the safer one, that if you had to pick one to be back on the team, it could be him.
Yep. But most likely, I think both of them are gone. From this list, I think Dennis Gardeck's back. I think Greg Newsome might be back, maybe on a cheap deal, because I think he's going to be looking for maybe like that 1 year prove it, kind of bet on himself kind of contract, and I think it would make sense for him to look for some continuity. So maybe Greg Newsome. Dewey, I could see. I think Buster played his way into a big contract somewhere. I don't know if the Jaguars are going to be able to match what he might find on that free agent market. So, again, I think these are tough decisions that have to be made because they really like Buster, and Buster played some good ball for you, but he played some good ball and showed the rest of the league he played some good ball. So somebody's going to want to pay him.
That's true. That's part. All right. So if you had to, let's just say you can only pick one of those guys on that screen behind you to come back. All right, fine. I'll give you two.
You'll give me two?
If we're being gracious, yes.
Okay. If I can only pick two from the wall that can come back, Dennis Gardeck, I still think, is an unsung hero for this defense. I think he brings toughness. He gives you a little bit of pass rush ability and was really good in that third linebacker spot for him. So I think you got to bring Dennis Gardeck back. He also played a lot of special teams and was doing all that coming off of a major injury from the season before, mind you, which normally it takes you a little while to get back to yourself. So I really like the idea of bringing Gardeck back. So I only get one more. I feel like if I only get one more, Kyle, it's got to be one of the two corners, right? Because the Jaguars are thin at corner if you lose Buster and you lose Newsome. For me, if I could prefer, I'd rather keep Buster than Newsome. Because Buster's been here. I think Buster played it at a high level. But I think it's more likely that Newsome takes a one-year prove-it kind of deal that keeps him in Jacksonville on the cheap. He looks for some continuity and bets on himself for the next offseason. And the Jaguars are going to be looking for guys like that to try and fill some of those spots. So I think Newsome and Gardeck. So this side of the wall is probably if I'm only picking two.
Okay. All right. Fair. Hey, that is fair enough. You know, the team's going to look different, but that's just something that we're going to have to accept. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a bad thing, you know. That's just kind of how the seasons are.
Look, different is different. And that's one of the things that's always, like, the guys always talk about. When the season ends, the locker room will never be exactly the same. No. It just won't. And you can't keep every free agent. When you have success out there on the football field, other teams want to pay your guys. Devin Lloyd, first-time All-Pro in his career. Somebody's going to give him a huge contract. Don't think it'll be Jacksonville. Travis Etienne, another 1,000-yard season. There are a lot of running back needy teams out there. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Travis Etienne ends up signed in with the Kansas City Chiefs. Wouldn't shock me. If I was Kansas City, I'd call him as soon as he hit the market. They could use a running back to help Pat Mahomes out. Travis Etienne would be perfect in that offense.
He would.
Pay that guy a little bit of money, and he has to take the check, right?
Yeah.
Look, that's the nature of the beast. And for a guy like Buster Brown, he has the best year of his career in a contract year. That's great, but somebody's going to offer him a 3-year with some guaranteed money, more than likely, that the Jaguars might not be able to match because they do have to make some tough decisions. Because, look, Dewey started every game at safety for him. So tough decision there. You don't want your starting safety to walk out. You don't want both of your starting corners. So this free agent class is going to rebuild that Jaguars defense one way or another. So the Jaguars defense was good this year. It's going to look massively different in the season because there's no way you're keeping every defensive starter that's on this wall, and you still want to find ways to make improvements at other spots. Like, to me, defensive tackle is one of the biggest gaps on this roster. They've got to improve there, especially for, like, a pass-rushing defensive tackle. So this offseason, whether it's through the draft or free agency, they got to find that guy. So if they want to find a veteran presence, then you got to clear up some money, and all of these guys can't get paid if you're clearing up money to bring in new guys.
Hey, that's all part of the off-season process. And I know this is the final Teal of the show, but, you know, we're still going to have plenty of Jaguars coverage for you, so we'll see how it all ends up turning out.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of coverage. I mean, you can come hang out with us on the News4JAX podcast. We'll keep those rolling all through the off-season. You can track those down over on News4JAX.com and that News4JAX Plus app and on YouTube and everywhere that you get your podcast. Teal, the show's been fun this season. It has, and it has been an absolute wild ride, and we appreciate everybody at home that has hung out with us every Monday and Friday night for Teal the Show because, I mean, this is what we do the show for. It's fun to do, but, you know, all of you at home that enjoy it and hang out with us every Monday and Friday night are why we keep doing it. So
we'll see you next year.
That's right. We'll see you next year. All right, good night, everybody, and go Jags.